Burt's Bees keeps your lips smooth. This podcast you're about to listen to, it has horribly offensive language, crude humor, and countless spoilers for things we guarantee haven't spoiled for you yet. No, it doesn't spoil things. Burt's Bees, that delicious lip balm. Oh, sorry, I got sidetracked there. Listener discretion is advised. If you're listening to this in a public place without headphones, you should probably use them. You should probably use some Burt's Bees brand headphones. This podcast isn't safe for anywhere, so you should probably stop right now. Get some Burt's Bees. Your lips are so dry. Some Burt's Bees will make your lips so moist. Kissably moist. Just come up and kiss you. Your moist lips. Sorry, got sidetracked there again. I just couldn't stop thinking about kissing everything I see. If you want to skip to a specific section of the show, the episode description, it's got like timestamps. You can use those. Now, sit back and relax and listen to two fat guys talk about smooth lips.
Well, here we are at our 60th anniversary show. Because we've been doing this.
This is actually 60, isn't it?
Well, it's not really anniversary, though. We haven't been doing this for 60 years.
60 episodes.
Yeah, 60 episodes. Episode 60. This is Carlos.
This is Dave.
Two fat guys talk. Brand new album cover edition.
Yes. The awesome edition.
Thanks to the talented Camilla Cow, whose website is going to be linked in the episode description. Please visit her site and check out her work. I really like it. I think that I have delicious hips. And if I knew it wasn't me in that picture, I would want to lick that belly button so hard. What am I doing? What am I doing, Dave? What am I doing with my life?
Shall I start calling you M. Bison?
Does he like belly buttons?
Cammy.
Is there... excuse me, is there canon evidence that he ever licked her belly button? You alright there, buddy? Yes.
Fucking punch you.
I figured what you mean is that since Cammy's a clone of her, that the Sailor Moon Carlos is a clone of me.
Yes.
Well, what does that make you on the cover?
That's me.
Have you given a name to your sword yet?
It's a sword. It doesn't need a name.
You could call it Falchion, too.
No.
It'll be like Marth's sword.
No.
But gayer.
Hardly.
That's a pretty nice sword that Marth has there. This episode is going to be mainly anime-related. It's going to be both about our anime raves and about anime in general. In a new segment that we'll reveal the title to later. Rest assured, David loves the title of it. But until we get there, we need to talk about our mailbag and corrections. Now, I'm suggesting we actually get to that after we get over our opening banter, because a lot of the mailbag and correction ties directly into anime-related stuff.
Sure.
Okay, so this section is called What You Do, and it's about where we catch up. Dave,
what... You forgot the title of our episode.
Oh, we have to fight over this shit. I want to call it Christmas? What foolish holidays humanity celebrates. Because fuck the holidays.
And I think you're a Scrooge-ish motherfucker.
I am pretty Scrooge-ish. All I know is that I was reading a news story about that one mom who told her kids, I'm done with Christmas. I hate it. It's stressing me out. You guys do your own Christmas stuff. And I'm thinking to myself,
I think she's a selfish bitch.
Yeah, that's because you're wrong. She's a hero because she probably does tons of shit for her family, and she decided, you know what, I need a break, and I don't really care for this holiday. So if you want all this stuff for Christmas, don't let me stop you. Makes her my hero.
Yeah, selfish bitch.
Yeah, I don't understand how. Do you want to elaborate on how?
Myself, I think if you're going to do that, you don't do that to your kids.
No, fuck that. What do you mean do that to your kids? Not doing Christmas stuff is not a crime. It is not abusive to not do Christmas stuff. She's doing nothing to her kids. She's just opting not to do something for them on top of all the shit she already does for them.
Growing up, I disagree. Of course.
So what you're saying is if you were growing up and your mom was like, you know what, I don't want to do any of this Christmas stuff. You guys go ahead, I'm out. You would have resented her for it?
Maybe.
That's monstrous. That is monstrous.
I think just stopping doing that sort of stuff, especially with Christmas being a family sort of thing, I think that's monstrous.
Do you know what Christmas is? It's a bullshit holiday made to make you buy stuff. it's garbage. The only real beneficial thing of it is you get some time off. Everything else about it is rhetoric based on nothing. So people want to disconnect from the holidays should not be vilified.
We'll agree to disagree.
Sure, but I still think the title is totally awesome.
No, and my title for this is Anime Video Games Christmas. What a nice time of the year.
Yes, and since Christmas blows, we're going to have a rumble here.
You already lost.
Yeah, I already lost. Well, let's compromise then, since you have the incorrect opinion that Christmas is worthwhile, and I have the correct one that it's not. Why don't we call it Anime Video Games Christmas, Tell My Wife I Said Hello?
Sure.
Okay, excellent. This is episode 60, Christmas Sucks. Don't hit me too hard with that. Okay, padded side, excellent. You're gonna whip me with the non-padded side, and then there really would have been a fight, because I think I would have gone 6 feet in the air and kick your skull. So Dave, what you do?
Well, it being the Christmas season, a whole bunch of games have come out. I'm playing none of them. I'm playing a combination of World of Warcraft and trying desperately to finish Kingdom Hearts 1.5 before 2.5 comes out next week.
A good mission, a good mission.
And as much as the controls weren't as good back in 1.5, gotta say, I am enjoying it again, other than Atlantica.
Kingdom Hearts 1 remains my favorite in the series. Before they added all the bullshit to that canon, including but not limited to the Secret Xemnas fight, and then the unfortunately terrible sequels, Kingdom Hearts 1 was awesome. So, I mean, hey, man, there are times I debate getting 1.5, but I'm like, no, it's tainted. It's tainted. Just like Chrono Trigger, it's tainted. It's tainted by its sequels. As for me,
you are now no longer able to be the grammar Nazi.
I can grammar. I is good grammar guy. Make good words for podcasts do. I've been playing a bunch of Smash Brothers on Wii U. Playing with my brother and cousin. Been playing the Mario Kart 8, which is still great. The Super Mario 3D World, which is still great. Warlords of Draenor, which I'm only playing because I have to get it out of my system before I let my account lapse. And I have been doing mainly that. There are a whole bunch of movies that I've let slip into a backlog that I need to watch that I just haven't got to yet. Both titles out this year and older ones that I've always wanted to get to. Like the old black and white movie I saw when I was a kid and I never appreciated back then, but I want to see again, 12 Angry Men. I kind of want to see that movie again. And stuff from this last year, like John Wick and other things I heard were really good. Big Hero 6 is another one.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's what I've been doing. Also, you and I both did something very specific. We have watched the Force Awakens trailer, aka Star Wars Episode 7.
Yeah.
The teaser for this. And I'm curious what you thought.
Good teaser trailer, but it didn't really tell us diddly squat.
Well, here's what the trailer had.
We saw
the
new X-Wing.
You can tell J.J. Abrams is involved because all the technology in this is kind of dirty and grimy. Like, the speeder bike is rusted and stuff, and the stormtrooper at the beginning, who we assume is a main character, his armor scorched and stuff.
Actually, I'll ask you to pause there for a second. I'm going to turn that around. This is different for J.J. Abrams. What was the last movie J.J. did?
Star Trek?
Yeah. You going to tell me that any of that? Usually a J.J. Abrams technological film is very shiny, lens flare-ish, with all kinds of glossy surfaces and ultra technology. I was very glad that somebody, whether it was he himself or an advisor, came back and said, hey, We want you to do your shit. But it's got to fit with the original trilogy. Not the prequels, the original. Because if they were doing along the prequel lines, everything would have been J.J. Abrams' glossy shit.
Okay,
however...
you know what? Fair enough, you're right.
The very fact that you point that out, and to be honest, I didn't actually focus in on that when I was watching the trailer, but you're right. It does... They're going back to the space western outlook of how the original trilogy was, where things aren't brand new, shiny, ooh, look at how everything glows.
There was some brand new shiny. We saw, like you mentioned, brand new, either highly modified or an entirely new model of X-Wing.
Yep.
And keep in mind, again, all the old novels and stuff are their own canons now. This is a movie canon based entirely on the movies and any novel that has been sanctioned by Disney now. So,
yep.
Basically, Heir to the Empire and everything after never happened. Mm-hmm. So, Jason and Jaina Solo, Anakin Solo, Chewbacca's death, all that stuff.
All retconned.
Yeah, all retconned. Hell, even stuff like Kyle Katarn and Mara Jade are probably retconned too, although we're not sure here.
We're still not sure how the games fit in with the Disney universe. They haven't specifically said, but we think that they do fit.
Maybe, but we'll have to see. And that's why I said characters like Kyle Katarn, Talon Card, Mara Jade. Here's the thing: Talon Card was Heir to the Empire all the way.
Yeah.
Mara Jade was, but the big wild card with Mara Jade is that she was in Dark Forces 2, the expansion.
That was after the Thrawn trilogy. So
true, but Thrawn was also a big part of TIE Fighter, which took place back during the the original trilogy timeline. But for all we know, it's not canon either.
Yeah.
Like, Disney did come out and say the movies, and if we specifically note
any
that
books
novel,
that we now do.
So otherwise, this is a new canon, right? So like, it's 30 years later, and we're still seeing TIE Fighters. For all we know, the Empire's still functioning just fine.
Well, from what rumors I've heard, and giant rumor tag on that, is that there has never been a New Republic.
Yeah,
the Empire never fell.
I believe that, especially since there seem to be TIE Fighters, and I was a little disappointed they weren't TIE Defenders, but I mean, and it's been, it's been 30 years. For all we know, these are super TIE Fighters with shielding and are able to fight these new X-Wings head-on 1-to-1.
And the problem with the whole TIE Fighter, TIE Defender thing was that TIE Defenders were super expensive as far as the Empire was concerned to make lots of, so they never bothered.
Sure.
As far as they were concerned, life is cheap.
Yeah, and that's fair. And, you know what isn't cheap? The shiny, new, but still classic-looking
Millennium Falcon.
Han ship.
Millennium Falcon?
Yeah, the Millennium Falcon. I don't know why I couldn't say that.
I liked that. We don't even... Number one, we're guessing it's the Millennium Falcon.
It could be some other Corellian freighter. I mean,
it doesn't look as beat up as it used to, but 30 years has gone by. I wouldn't expect it to...
Even in the original trilogy, Han and Chewie were always retrofitting that thing, right?
And that was after years of Londo.
Yeah, and it's a modified
Oh,
Corellian freighter. Like, this is no ordinary Corellian ship.
And that's all canon.
Mm-hmm. We also heard a mysterious voice talk about an awakening
of the Force,
the dark side, and the light. Now, there were rumors, and this is my rumor tag rumor now, that Benedict Cumberbatch is involved somehow.
Yep.
That guy sounded like Benedict Cumberbatch, but there was no confirmation.
Well, I mean, now that they basically retconned all the novels, 30 years later, there may not have been a Jedi Academy. There may have not been, Luke and Leia may have been the last Jedi in this canon.
Entirely possible.
All the hidden ones that popped up in the expanded universe novels, number one, no longer technically exist. And maybe in this version, they never did. Like, literally, maybe Yoda was telling the truth in this version that they were the last. And that an awakening of the Force, good and bad, may be that maybe
non-Force sensitive people suddenly awaken to it. Maybe that's what happened.
Midichlorians, and I hate justifying Lucas's bullshit, but maybe they've hit a saturation point where all of a sudden people are once again going through like a rebirth cycle of the Force.
That black stormtrooper at the beginning, do you think that's what happened to him? He kind of woke up like he didn't know what was happening, and like he had some kind of weird clairvoyance going on.
Maybe, but...
Speaking of which, they also showed a new Stormtrooper helmet design.
That was cool.
And I'm glad that Stormtrooper did not look like a clone of Jango Fett.
Well...
Not unless they were like, our clones don't look African enough.
Well, and here's the problem there. Any of the clones that would have been from the Clone Wars would be in their biologically 60-year-old, but they'd be about 80 years old.
Sure.
How they'd look. Let's just come out and say, especially with the Emperor canon, the Emperor hated clones.
Sure.
No doubt the Emperor had most of the clones wiped out.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Plus they always advertised for people to join the Imperial Navy all the time. This could be just some guy who enlisted to the Imperial Academy, the way Luke was totally going to before his family got killed.
I'm not surprised that we're back on Tatooine.
Now, they never said it was Tatooine, but let's be honest, it's Tatooine.
Desert world, junky technology, we're back on Tatooine.
Middle of nowhere desert world, always a focal point for Star Wars. Have you noticed this shit?
Because it always keeps on coming back to Tatooine.
Always. In the original trilogy, in the prequel trilogy, and now, it's always Tatooine. Almost like they should relocate Coruscant to near there.
Or there's something more to it.
Mm-hmm.
Never was in the expanded universe, but I could easily write up a storyline where there's something special about Tatooine.
Oh, sure, for sure.
Not just, being a smuggler's den.
And moisture farming. Can't forget that moisture farming. I need to open a strip club called the Moisture Farm.
Sure. Let's talk about lightsabers.
Oh my god, the cross-hilt lightsaber! You were thinking, what can they do next with lightsabers? I tell you what, add the most impractical, dangerous cross-hilt you could ever see.
No.
It's still cool as shit, don't get me wrong. That is so dangerous!
No, that was brilliant. Think about it. You've now got a cross-hilt, and if you look at the actual lightsaber, it has little nubs where your hand couldn't go up, and therefore slice your fingers off.
Okay.
But it's only a very little bit. It's actually tapered. So now, if a lightsaber comes down along the blade and tries to cut off your fingers, your mini lightsaber is going to stop that lightsaber.
Okay, you've won me over. You've won me over to the cross-shaped medieval European lightsaber.
I mean, I saw that, I'm like, are you fucking... Pause.
Now, something some people don't notice about Star Wars, we notice it because we're giant nerds, but not everybody does, is that lightsabers all make different sounds.
Within a very narrow
Within a variance, like, sometimes you get some games like the Old Republic where you can have very non-lightsaber sounding lightsabers. And even if you go back to the original movies, like, the good characters' lightsabers always sounded like the traditional sound, but Darth Vader's was always a little deeper and a little more menacing. This lightsaber sound and the way the blade looked almost looked like it was in some kind of weird, like, it was almost the lightsaber equivalent of something jagged. Like the kind of lightsaber an orc might build. Like,
maybe.
It sounded so cool, and even the blade was flickering in a way that I was reading online, some people were saying it looks like the lightsaber was just shoddily patched together, but I think that's part of the draw, that the blade is supposed to not be the traditional blade. So, I mean, this lightsaber is just super cool, no matter which way you slice it.
Probably belongs to a bad guy.
And totally a J.J. Abrams construct. You look at that and you're like, this is J.J. Abrams' ideal lightsaber all the way.
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
TIE fighters shooting at the Millennium Falcon over Tatooine again. Yeah, man.
But that segment there was awesome with the whole loop-de-loop, upside down. It was like, okay, this is awesome.
I was already cautiously optimistic about The Force Awakens. And now December 2015 cannot get here soon enough. What about you?
I'm optimistic it's going to be a decent work. But I'm going to say a big part of it's going to come down to the original actors and what sort of role they've been given. Because this is going to be very much a passing of the torch kind of idea.
Agreed.
And if they've written bad segments or if the original actors aren't pulling their weight from a storyline perspective...
Which they will, let's be honest.
I'm kind of worried about Harrison Ford these days.
Harrison Ford's awesome, man.
Harrison Ford is an awesome actor, but Star Wars was never a role he really cared about, and he's really come to resent over the years.
But he's still...
I mean, it basically launched his career to become, Indiana Jones and everything else, but everybody references back to two roles, Han Solo and Indiana Jones.
But he still always said that he would go back to Star Wars.
Oh, yeah.
He's always said it.
For the right money.
For the right money. And here's the thing, like, Han Solo... I'm the worst. Harrison Ford. Gee, I wonder why he hates Han Solo. He is not the guy who is just going to mail it in on Star Wars Episode 7. I
would hope. Actually, of the three of them, the one I'd be most worried about would be Carrie Fisher.
And even then, I think... I don't think she's mailing it in. She is going to be an awesome Leia still.
Even then, she can't afford to fuck up.
I agree.
This is kind of her last chance to have a career.
I don't think she cares about a movie career at this point.
Well, no, this is the last chance she has to not be considered the crazy, insane person.
She's been clean forever, though. Like, she after Star Wars and she had her episodes, she's kind of cleaned up her act, written books about it, become a very motivational person. I don't think she really cares about cementing the Leia legacy. But she's going to do a good job. The one who's going to be most enthusiastic about it is Mark Hamill, let's be honest with ourselves.
Mark Hamill will put in his A game.
Can you believe we're about to get a Star Wars Episode 7 by Disney and J.J. Abrams?
Well, we always said it would take George Lucas either dying or losing the company for Episode 7 to
Or
happen.
as it turned out, just realizing that he doesn't want to do it anymore and selling the company.
As far as I'm concerned, that's him losing the company.
Sure.
He couldn't do it.
He couldn't do it right, that's for sure. But I mean, yeah, man, I'm excited. So now, we're on our Mailbag Corrections segment. We told you guys to send us voicemails, and you did. So, let's load up our magical voicemail pad. Beep, boop, 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 beep, beep. Beep, boop, 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 beep.
Really?
Beep, boop, boop.
Okay, you're done.
Beep, boop, boop, boop. Beep, beep. For those people who can't see us through the microphone.
Gave him the finger.
Yeah, he fingered my ass real hard. Alright, let's, I'm sorry, Dave. But I mean, you said finger, and I'm a dirty man. Alright, let's get to voicemail.
Carlos, I hate you so much right now. I mean, you watch an hour and a half of Steins Gate. And you can't even give 15 minutes for you couldn't even give 15 minutes for Odin Sphere, and you decide to call it shit. And now you decide to hate on Spirited Away. Okay. You can hate on Hayao Miyazaki. I don't mind. I don't like every single one of his movies either. Okay. But when you talk about but the way you talk shit about Spirited Away, my favorite movie. Because I marveled at the lushful color. I loved the bathhouse. Like, that was a place I really wanted to be. I think it was way more colorful than any of Hayao Miyazaki's works. Okay? So, you're going to compare that beautiful movie to fucking Rania, that piece of shit that I could care less about. Yeah, like, fuck you, Carlos. Why you gotta be so, why you gotta be an ass? Like, why? Is it in your nature?
Alright, so I'm apparently the worst person alive.
Now, Adon, you are correct.
Jeez.
Carlos should stop being so Carlos-y. He needs to get the sand out of his vagina.
But my vagina is so full of sand.
I agree with you. Spirited Away was a very good work of his and should not be compared to Rania.
It was terrible.
What should be compared to Rania would be, Castle in the Sky.
Fuck you.
So yeah, no, definitely Rania was a very poor work.
Look, there were good things about Spirited Away, I'll admit. It was shorter than your average Hayao Miyazaki film.
Maybe you should be quiet now, Carlos.
I don't get the love that this movie has. It's dull.
Now, Adon, one thing you should feel good hearing is a group of our friends during one of our get-togethers. During the next get-together, we are forcing Carlos to watch Spirited Away with us so that he will recognize just how good of a film it is.
They got all salty because they were like, man, Spirited Away is awesome. And I'm like, actually, it's garbage. So, and now they're going to force me to watch it again. This is cruel and unusual.
Just know that more people agree with you and me than will ever agree with Carlos on this topic.
It's just, he was the stupid spirit of a river. Like, he's an inanimate object. That's like if the little girl...
Rivers aren't inanimate.
Maybe she should have a love affair with a dildo. Maybe she should have a love affair with the spirit of the dildo. Maybe that's what she should do.
His films are child-friendly.
Yeah, child-friendly. Hey, kids, do you want to go through this tunnel so your parents turn into pigs and you have to, support them? Oh, you're not a working adult yet? Too bad. This might go over your head, kids. Thank you for the voicemail, Don.
Feel free to insult Carlos again.
Next voicemail.
Okay, I would like to correct myself. Spirited Away is my favorite Ghibli film. It's not necessarily one of my favorite films of all time, but I'm going to rewatch it again just to make sure I can firmly say that. But Carlos, if the wrapping up of what's his face's the river spirit story, if that was the only complaint you had, that has got to be the most fucking superficial complaint. If you can find, in the 3 episodes you can hate on Steins Gate, you probably found 20 reasons to hate on it. So, why do you have to hate Spirited Away for the dumbest reasons? Because that's what I'm thinking you're doing right now. And to Dave, I would like to recommend you Hanasaku Iroha. I'm not sure if you watched it or not, but it's basically Shirobako. It's what Shirobako is trying to be in a way. I wish I could talk a little more about it, but I already just sent 2 messages, so I'll talk to you guys again sometime. Fuck you, Carlo.
Okay, that was the second voicemail from Adon, and
Jesus Christ, such hostility.
Once again, you are correct. Carlos is a cockmonger. Yeah, no, I will definitely follow up and check out that anime. However, in Carlos' defense, we found way more than 20 reasons to hate Steins Gate in the first 10 minutes, let alone 3 episodes. But he is being superficial asshole as far as Spirited Away goes.
There's nothing to Spirited Away. It's about a little girl realizing that maybe she has to try in life. Oh wow, watch any other Studio Ghibli film, and you'll get that message without the fucking river, jackass. Seriously, look, Hayao Miyazaki, the river does not
You're done, Carlos.
I don't understand. I don't understand.
No, you don't.
I don't
And you're
understand why people like that movie so much. I don't even think Hayao Miyazaki likes it. That wasn't that supposed to be his last movie? Wasn't he just mailing it in? Like, I don't know.
For the 5th time?
Yeah. Wasn't he like, I don't know, maybe the river has a spirit boy in it. I don't give a shit. Leave me alone. Maybe that's what he was saying.
Okay, we're gonna move on to voicemail number 5.
Okay. Or number 3 for today.
True.
Okay, this is strictly for Dave. Don't let Carlos watch Hanasakuri Roha unless he watches another episode of Steins Gate. Can you promise me that, Dave? Please? Thank you.
Okay, just a quick one.
Why do you want to hurt me, Adon? Why do you want to hurt me?
So that was a quick third one from Adon.
Why do you want to hurt me, man?
Dude, I can totally promise that I'm going to make Carlos watch a 4th episode of Steins Gate before we watch that.
Please, no!
On to the next voice.
Please!
Hi, Carlos. Hi, Dave. This is Rowan, and you asked for some voicemail. I thought that I had some questions, so I thought this would all work really nicely together. Before I ask some questions, minor correction. I know you checked online at the time during the episode, but Sony did not make the Decavita. It's a small company called GameTech. I don't know much about them, but it's not made by Sony. They're not that crazy. Pretty crazy, but not that crazy. Anyway, some questions. Firstly, I was wondering if you had any thoughts on Under Night In-Birth, the fighting game made by French Bread, who went and made Melty Blood earlier, but now are doing something separated from the Type Moon licensing. It's a pretty nifty game, but I wonder what you think about it. Digital goods and pricing, you've complained a lot about Virtual Console in the past. I was wondering what pricing structure you would use if you had the chance, barring a subscription model for those who don't like that kind of system. You talked a lot about MMOs last week. What MMOs do you like, and what do you generally tinker with most outside of WoW? Finally, you do a lot of anime, a lot of Japanese media stuff. What are your thoughts on visual novels? Not necessarily as games, but as pieces of narrative media, or whatever bullshit term you prefer. Anyway, love the show. Thank you so much for listening to this awful mail, and goodbye!
Oh, that was friend of the show, Rowan. Hi, Rowan.
Nice to hear from you.
Yes, always good to see, well, yeah, good to hear from you. I've chatted with you for a bit, and you followed us for a while, and yeah, good stuff. Howdy again! So, my bad about the Decavita. I could have sworn every source I saw said it was a Sony thing. David had initially expressed doubt, and David was right, so my mistake there. It's still the stupidest thing in the world.
I agree with Rowan, though. I mean, the very fact that we could actually believe Sony could be so stupid to do it speaks a little bit about Sony, too.
It does. Also, Rowan, your voicemail was not stupid. We will take any voicemails, man. We have tens of followers, and we would like to one day increase that to 20s of followers. You asked us about what MMOs we like other than WoW and what we dabble in. At the moment, I don't dabble in any other one, but the most recent one I did play was WildStar. And I liked a lot about WildStar. I liked it visually, I liked the music, I liked how you had to aim your abilities, I liked that it had limited ability sets, which I think WoW should steal. I like that most abilities, you pressed it, and you held the button to see its range, and then when you let go, or next time you just pressed it, it would affect things in that range. You saw its telegraph, that was what they called it. Unfortunately, WildStar seems to have fallen apart as of late. Carbine made a bunch of mistakes, and I think that game is about to go free to play if it hasn't already.
It hasn't yet.
Or it's just going to collapse in on itself.
Well, they did lay off a whole bunch of their staff, so it's never a good indication of how the game's doing. Now, I left.
I would say it's a great indication of how the game's doing, but it's never something we want to see.
Yeah. That's what I meant, actually.
Sure.
I played WildStar for a little bit longer than you did. I kind of killed the game for myself because I beta tested it so thoroughly. And I think that the way they did their player housing was nothing but a gold sink in a bad way. Everything from changing your walls, your floors. You would buy something, and then if you wanted to go back to something, you'd have to buy the old one again, and there was no sense of ownership as far as customizations outside of furniture, and it just seemed like too much.
It also seemed highly unlikely that a raid boss's most prestigious drop would be a couch.
Actually, I thought that was kind of cool myself.
Like, it's funny, don't get me wrong, but...
Well, but then again, a number of comics made the really good observation. The moment a lot of players hit 15 and could do player housing, all forward progression stopped. Because it was an awesome system. You could have your you could have mini games that you could build into your plot of land you're given it. Like, there was a lot to say about what WildStar did. The combat system was simply Guild Wars 2, but an upgrade. Speaking of Guild Wars 2, that's the other MMO I still play. The fact you don't have to pay per month is a definite good thing there, and the fact that every couple weeks they tend to give more content than WoW gives in 2 years is also a major shot to the nuts for WoW, but it hasn't really affected their market. Guild
Wars 2 is a game I own, and it's one of those games I keep saying it deserves more of my time.
And you never do.
I know. I'm sorry, ArenaNet. Please forgive me.
Okay. You also... We're doing your questions out of order just because as they come to mind. You also asked about virtual stores, digital distribution, and pricing.
Yeah, for like stuff like Virtual Console, like a company basically selling you its classic games that don't have an official console out for it anymore, is what I took from that.
Yeah, see, the only two systems I can really go with that on is Sony and Nintendo. For PlayStation 1 and 2 games, and then Nintendo's backlog of console games.
Well, there are other companies that can do it. On Virtual Console, you can also get Genesis and TurboGrafx games.
Sure.
Who's not to say that any of these companies could release a set-top box that would let you buy all these old games and just a simple HDMI connection.
But the reason that hasn't happened is because of the licensing nightmare.
There is licensing.
Just because it came out for the Sega Genesis doesn't mean they have the license to reproduce the game in a virtual...
No, but they have the license to their first-party stuff, as long as it doesn't involve a licensed product, right? So, I mean, honestly, I hate the Virtual Console prices. I don't think $5.99 is, or $4.99 or whatever it costs. No, it's not reasonable to pay $4.99 for the simplest ass ROM that Nintendo can just crap out and make like 5,000% profit on.
Mm-hmm.
It is especially a ripoff when you consider that games that used to be Japanese only that don't get translated get marked as imports and cost more. Like if you wanted to play the Japanese version of Lost Levels, for instance.
Yeah.
Otherwise known to them as Super Mario Bros. 2.
I mean, really, Nintendo is the biggest...
Well, they're not the biggest, but they're definitely...
They're the best at ripping you off for their virtual console titles, I think.
But what price point would you pick? Let's say, for whatever reason, you couldn't have a subscription model, or it was an option. Either go with the subscription model, or you can pay so much to just get the game permanently.
I mean, these old games are, frankly, not worth more than $1. $1 or maybe $2. But then Nintendo went with the basis for their basic ones. Like an NES game at best might cost you $1. Super NES, you're looking at $3. And then N64 is like $5 or $6.
But now the argument, though, is this. If somebody made an awesome NES game now, and it was a great, fantastic fucking game, I'd pay $10 for that, or more even. So, I mean, yeah, there's something to say that it's new and fresh, okay. But at the same time, like, there were some fantastic games on the NES and the Super NES and the Game Boy and any other old system you can imagine, right?
Sure.
Like, obviously we need to consider that price, you know, since there's no hardware tied to it, it's just the software. the ease of delivery needs to be considered, and the fact that they shouldn't appreciate in value just because they're old. So I mean, okay, they want to put a price on it. It's going to be subjective. Some people don't give a fuck that they pay $5 for a virtual console game. For me, I think that price point should be $1 to $5 on the game, depending on which game it is. If there are any difficulties to its emulation, like say emulating the Super FX chip is difficult, and there's some work to make that work. Maybe Star Fox needs to cost more as a result. But I don't want to see Nintendo's virtual console pricing structure now. Slash those prices in half, and we'll talk.
And even then, I mean, I bought a couple of virtual console games from Sony for like the PS1, and those have usually cost me $2 or $3. Like I bought Grandia for $3.
Yeah, if you can buy Grandia for $3, you should not be buying the Lost Levels for $7.
Yeah. Now, to talk about digital distribution as a distribution point, even for modern games, I think that was kind of part of what he was talking about there as well. And if not, give you some extra for your question. Yes. I think the way that digital distribution is done right now is wrong. In that they are still charging you the exact same price as a retail copy on the digital distribution. It should be cheaper.
I disagree.
Period.
I disagree with that. And this goes back to us talking about novels and digital books. You're not paying for the binding. You're not paying for the cardboard. You're paying for the content. And if that content is valued at a certain amount and people are willing to pay for it, I don't see why the digital version should cost less. Especially since that digital version is probably going to be subject to more sales and cheaper bundles than the hard version ever will be.
And I still disagree with you. The very fact that the company no longer has to pay for said binding, said physical shelf space, said physical production model, and everything else, that is a decrease in their costs. I should see the same decrease.
I could then argue that maybe you're paying for the convenience. It's very convenient to download something digitally and just have it on a hard drive, not taking up any physical room other than what that hard drive takes up. It's a complicated issue, for sure. I don't think it's so cut and dry as to say one needs to be cheaper than the other.
Early days of Steam, that's what happened. And then it changed because they realized that people would pay the exact same amount for digital as they would for physical. And we've been fucked ever since.
However, Steam games tend to cost less than their physical counterparts.
I'm talking brand new, AAA.
Yeah. Most of Sega's titles that go on Steam day one are half the cost of their physical one. And it's partly
hasn't released a new PC game in a while.
Sure, but they still did that when they did, like, Sonic and All-Stars.
You're talking a backlog.
You're
not talking a new AAA game.
There's a point I'm
Sega
getting.
hasn't made a AAA game in years.
There's a point, the Aliens one. There's a point, though, that I'm trying to make, and that's that on Steam, pricing games less than MSRP is the norm, and Steam users come to expect it. So they don't put up with companies that try to go way over that price. Unfortunately, mobile users still pay Square a premium for Square titles. That Square claims is because they're higher quality than other titles, which is bullshit and laughable at best. So, I mean, the market controls this, and as much as I hate certain aspects of capitalism in the market, the fact of the matter is that I'm allowed to put out a good at a certain price. You're allowed to think it's too much and not buy it, but if everyone else is willing to pay that much, I'm probably not going to lower that price for you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's all there needs to be said there, and certain markets will be okay to certain things. That's why, unfortunately, poor fucking Japanese anime watchers have to pay rip-off fucking prices for anime on DVD, while we tend to get the cheaper ones here, because we don't tolerate that shit.
Or at least we didn't.
Yeah, it's
Aniplex.
Aniplex. Fuck you, Aniplex. Rowan's, I think the only thing we're missing out of Rowan's question now is, he asked us about visual novels. Now, I'm going to drop the whole they're not a game thing. I already apologized for this last podcast. I'm going to say they're not my thing, but if it's just like a visual comic, like the way Marvel will sometimes release a motion comic, that's one thing. If it has to have input for me, I kind of want that input to be more meaningful. It's not really my thing to just click along a visual novel and occasionally make an arbitrary choice that may or may not get me tits. I'd rather just see it play out like a movie. But that's me.
Well, I have no problem with visual novels, to be honest. I mean, they're basically... The good ones are basically choose-your-own-adventure sort of ideas to them. So, yeah, no problem with them. I've even supported a couple along the way, both on Kickstarter and through Steam. So, it's a viable medium. Sometimes they are just basically comics. Other times they're interactive storyboards. I say keep it up. If you do a good one, hey, it's worth supporting.
There are times that I think I could write a visual novel, but there would be so many dicks. So many dicks.
Wouldn't make it on Steam.
Oh, we'll see about that. Steam. Gabe Newell. Give me a shout out. Have your people contact my people. We got so many dicks on Steam.
Him talking to you would basically confirm Half-Life 3.
Yeah. Hey, Carlos, we're releasing Half-Life 3. That's awesome. I don't give a shit. Where's Portal 3?
But, I think that got all of his questions.
I think so, too.
Hey, Rowan, Carlos here, in editing, and as I was editing, I realized that we didn't answer your question about Under Night in Birth. I'll field this one because I believe Dave only played the one time I brought it over, and I've played it considerably more. I played it at Ranbats, and I got my ass kicked at Canada Cup at it, because I didn't practice it for a month, and I was, I had a bit of an ego about me. I was like, man, I placed 4th place in a couple of Ranbats for a Unial. I can totally not practice for a month and do reasonably well, instead of never taking a single round off anyone. I think Under Night in Birth is awesome. It kind of feels like if Ultra Street Fighter 4 had some balls, and actually had a bit of, a bit of chaining and a bit of better air combat and a bit less emphasis on links and execution and more on how your attacks kind of can chain into one another and how best to do it. I'm no expert at the game for sure, obviously, given my Canada Cup performance. I would say that over time, I kind of see, despite the freedom the chains in the game allow, there seems to be some rather rigid best practice combos right now. I'm learning Batista, and because I always pick charge characters whenever possible. I wouldn't say I'm encountering any kind of real difficulty learning her. I've always found charge characters much easier than motion characters, and a lot of the execution for her is stuff that I'm finding I can actually do, which is surprising, because I've heard a lot of people online say that she's rather difficult. That said, I do see that there are some combo routes that the game freely allows you to do, but they aren't as optimized or as good as some other ones, which you might as well do, because you're just going to get more damage out of them. Arguably all games boil down to that, I guess, but on the point of Uniel itself, I really like it. I like how it looks. I like how it plays. I even kind of dig the really emo backstory that the characters have. And I kind of like that they have Akatsuki as a guest character drawn in Uniel style. It's unfortunate that Philia from Skullgirls didn't get to be a guest character. My understanding is she was supposed to be maybe in Uniel 2 or in a patch. We'll see. Otherwise, yeah, Uniel rocks. I want to play it more.
Next voicemail.
Hello, it's me out 900 again. I was wondering, because in the intro you guys say, warning, there's spoilers and foul language in this podcast, and you have to listen with earphones in your ears. But yes, spoilers are strange to me. I mean, most of the time I try not to post stuff that can be considered spoilery. I mean, with anime, it's kinda easier to post something that can be taken non-spoilery. But manga is, different for some reason, because I don't know. A lot of people don't read manga or something. But most of the manga I'm reading is like a manga that have had anime adaptations and are either finished and probably will never come back, or they're just not caught up. I don't know, Fairy Tail's that manga I'm talking about. And so is Seven Deadly Sins. But Seven Deadly Sins is basically the same thing as Fairy Tail when you really think about it, and that disappointed me when I started reading it. But then again, it's popular in Japan and not over here, so it makes sense. We already had Naruto kind of taking the spot of cliché shonen. Anyways, Naruto's all done, that's good. But back to the topic. What's your opinion on spoilers? Could this be a good discussion topic? I hope so.
So, for spoilers, hi Meowth. For spoilers, I don't mind them anymore. My theory is, okay, sometimes I'll avoid them because I want the shock value. But really, if I hear a spoiler and it's still something I want to see, I'm going to see it. Fiction is more than just its plot twists. And, yeah, some people don't like to hear spoilers, and I'll try not to spoil shit for people, and I'll apologize if I do by accident. That's why we have spoiler warnings all over everything we record, because we don't want to have to, we don't have to watch out for this shit all the time, right? But I mean, if you had, I knew Eris died well before playing FF7, and that wouldn't have changed my mind about FF7. It's overrated and kind of trashy. And if I knew details about Kill la Kill later, I still would have watched the whole show. I mean, for me, spoilers don't matter too much.
I don't typically like spoilers, but if I'm listening to certain podcasts / videos and I know there are going to be spoilers, the ones I listen to always have the spoiler warning on anything that's going to break things. And I mean, the way that we do our anime raves in general are very spoiler heavy because it is our reactions to it. We're not.
It's also kind of aimed at people who've already seen it. We're not trying to sell people on a show they haven't yet seen.
We're also not trying to sell you on or off of a show. This is literally just how we're reacting to the show, with the exception of our fall stuff. It still was our reaction to it, but it was very much, we kind of went with a review kind of system to it.
Sure. As for manga versus anime to spoil, I wouldn't know. I'm not really, I don't really follow the,
that's more my...
manga posting versus, sorry?
That's more my field, I think.
Oh, go on.
Well, I mean, I'm the one who reads a lot of manga and then end up watching shows based off of it. As far as spoilers go, though, Meowth, it's... especially when you go from a manga medium to a anime medium, the sign of a good adaptation is that they take liberties with the material and run with it. So even though you know that this person should be doing this sometime during this episode, when all of a sudden that doesn't happen or they go with something new and their own take on it, it can definitely help liven up your expectations. On the other side, though, there are some shows that you very much want to see the direct translation of manga to video because it was so cool. So, as far as spoilers go, I think it's more based on what you want to see and what the actual director feels like.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's all we can say about that.
Pretty much. Let's listen to your second one.
Hello to Fat Guys Talk. This is Meowth900 again. The new Star Wars trailer came out, and I thought it looked good, but I don't really care that much. I mean, Star Wars is fun, but it's not, super ultra amazing. I mean, heck, I haven't even watched all the Star Wars movies from start to finish. And that's because I see Star Wars referenced so many times in cartoons and even anime on occasions. Even a spin-off of Naruto referenced Star Wars. So that's how big Star Wars is. And plus, I don't really feel the need to, because the media has showed me all the stuff that happens in Star Wars, so why would I watch something when I know what's gonna happen? It's not really a fun experience if you already know what's gonna happen. Do you guys have movies or video games or TV shows that you constantly get told you have to watch this? Because that's what I get whenever I mention I haven't really got into Star Wars. I mean, I'm only 20 years old. Star Wars is more for like 30-year-olds. Came out in the 70s. What the hell? Why do people gotta tell me what to watch? That ain't cool. I'm in control of my own life, you know? Pray for Carlos.
Well, thanks, Meow, for your second voicemail there. I gotta say, you youngsters these days just don't know what's good for you.
I find that very insulting, Dave. I am only 5 years old, after all.
Yes, but we're not talking mental here.
Yes.
As far as the whole Star Wars, Star Trek, these days Games of Thrones, all of these really popular shows are what basically take over a lot of our culture and have influenced how a lot of other shows do what they do. So I understand people saying, well, oh yeah, you gotta watch this show, you gotta watch that show. It's because they're very passionate about it, and I mean, you've mentioned different animes that you've watched and some of your opinions. It shows how passionate you are about certain things that you've mentioned. That's all they're doing. It's not so much to be forceful or even insulting. It's just literally these have helped develop some of the science fiction and fantasy parts of our culture, and it's just people want to share what they love.
I am a big hypocrite because I will always recommend shows to people, and I hate when people harp on me needing to watch things that are going to totally blow my mind away that I've already decided I have no interest in watching. For example, I recommend Kill to everybody, but someone goes, hey man, The Last of Us is so awesome. I'm like, motherfucker, I'll decide when I want to play The Last of Us. I don't give a shit that it's Game of the Year all years, and maybe that's the issue. Sometimes people drone on endlessly about shows that everyone needs to like. Say, Spirited Away with its garbage fucking river spirit.
Stop it!
It's annoying for sure. People are passionate about what they're passionate about. If you don't like Star Wars, you don't have to fucking like Star Wars. Look, everybody loves... What's a movie everybody loves that I fucking can't stand?
Titanic?
Yeah, everybody loves fucking Titanic. Fuck that movie. Everyone's like, you didn't go see Titanic yet when it was out in theaters? And I'm like, no, because I don't fucking care. Then when I saw it later, I was like, wow, I shouldn't have fucking cared. I don't give a shit about Titanic. I would rather play the NES game Titanic that fucking JonTron reviewed than I would go watch fucking Titanic again. I think that's a better representation of the story. This Benjamin Button is another one. The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. It's an Oscar fishing film. It's also one of the worst fucking films I've ever seen. And nobody can shut the fuck up about The Curious Case of Benjamin stupid fucking Button. It is the worst. The fucking worst.
But as far as your one comment there, Meowth, about, spoilers, the media is showing you everything, so you already know how things happen. With a lot of shows, just because you know some of the highlights, you don't know the details, so you can still get a lot of enjoyment out of something that has had key points ruined.
But in fairness, some people don't like that.
I agree.
Some people need to have their plot twist not spoiled, and I get that.
Mm-hmm.
And
but it's as younger generations come along, it's a little bit harder to have.
Yeah, it's kind of tough to
avoid the spoiler of Luke, I am your father, because it's so prevalent in certain media. It's the spoilers for the older shows is near impossible. Like King Kong dying. King
Kong dying. Anakin, Darth Vader's Anakin Skywalker. Eris dies. General Leo dies. Tella dies.
Okay, you just did a couple that probably nobody gave a fuck about.
People care about Eris for some reason. People don't care about General Leo, even though he's way more awesome than Eris. And nobody needs to have the fact that the Chronicles of Riddick is a terrible movie spoiled for them, because that's just not a pleasant plot twist to figure out you spent fucking $13 on a movie, and it was terrible, Dave!
Wow, I'm still hearing about that like 10 years.
Pitch Black was pretty good, though, so I mean...
Of course it was. Anyway, yeah, spoilers are a difficult topic for... It's a topic that each person has to kind of deal with in their own way. It's hard to avoid spoiler topics on forums, on web pages, especially if you don't play it within the first month.
It can also be tough to avoid the choking popularity of certain things being part of culture. Like, if someone doesn't give two shits about the Godfather movies, I've seen people lose their shit and get pissed off that somebody didn't like The Godfather. Look, I like The Godfather. Fuck, I love that movie. I love the second movie, too. Third one, not so hot. But if someone does not like The Godfather, they're allowed to not like the fucking Godfather. And we as a culture almost get baffled that somebody maybe didn't give a fuck about The Wizard of Oz. Or maybe didn't give a fuck about Casablanca or something. I love Casablanca, but if people don't like it, they're allowed to not like it. It's a matter of opinion, and I think sometimes people forget this.
Yeah.
Anywho, Meow, thank you very much for your voicemail. Thank you, all of you, for your voicemails. I will include your various Twitter handles in our episode synopsis. Thank you very much for those. That actually covers a lot of what we were going to talk about, but we'll get to the rest of it in a new section called I Hope Dave-Sempai Notices Me, which is our anime section when we're not actually doing anime raves.
I hate you so much.
It's a good name. Don't you think that is such an anime name?
Oh, it is.
Yes.
I still hate you.
I know. So, Anime Rave, we have, by the time people have heard this, they will have heard our Week 3 retrospective for Fall 2014, and they will have realized that, we're going to revisit the shows, 9 shows in the end, that we decided are worth our time about midway through their run. And then we're going to talk about it again. The video versions of the fall 2014, why do I keep saying 2012? Of the fall 2014 stuff, they're coming. It's just that I've been prioritizing the audio to get them out within some semblance of time, basically.
Yep.
The videos take longer. They're not harder, they just take longer. And I really want to get out to putting more anime raves up, like our Sailor Moon Crystal anime raves, which I think are really funny. And you were mentioning earlier, what the fuck is up with our Sailor Moon Crystal Episode 2 rave having over 2,000 views on YouTube?
Just crazy.
That is the most views we've ever had. We're used to seeing tens of views, not thousands. Like, I also kind of wanted to talk a bit, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
About 2 shows we saw the final episodes for, one of which we saw it without even subtitles, so we kind of had to guess at what was happening. And the other we saw and we kind of quickly wrapped up without necessarily talking in depth about it. And those 2 shows are Kill la Kill and Senran Kagura. So, Kill la Kill episode 25, that was the
OAV.
The OAV, the epilogue for the show, if you will, and much better than most shows' epilogues. We saw it pretty shortly after we released our non-subtitled version of it. We saw it with subtitles, and we just haven't talked about it until now. We were mostly dead on for what we predicted was happening, but there were some things that we didn't quite catch without subtitles, like how Sanagayama let Satsuki win the fight, because he saw that she was kind of deflated and out of motivation, so he purposely broke his own fucking stick and let her walk away from the fight that he, by all rights, should have won. Because Sanagayama is up there. He's supposed to be about on her level.
Which, in compared to our original thoughts, we thought that she just kicked his ass that well because she's fucking Satsuki.
Yeah, and we were kind of shocked when the rest of them went up to her and they were like, what the hell happened? Like, they knew that he should have won that fight, right? And Sanagyan was like, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. She looked so sad and defeated. I couldn't do it. And it wasn't a mercy saving face thing. It was more of a, I want my opponent to be at their best, and she just doesn't care right now thing. And that was pretty telling, and it kind of makes sense in the context of the rest of what happened. I also liked how cleaving the school in half with her super scissor blade, what in graduation mode was considered the graduation. If I could cleave my school in half when I graduated, maybe I wouldn't think about school what I think about it now.
Yeah, her scissor power was a little bit OP.
Just a tad OP.
But it was awesome. I also think they did it in that way to show that she's going to be a force to be contended with no matter what happens, because she doesn't need Senketsu. No,
she doesn't need Senketsu, although his memory was pretty prominent in the episode. Yes. They talked about him quite a lot. And they should. He sacrificed himself for the greater good. And one thing we saw in both versions is that Ryuko is perfectly capable of absorbing life fibers into herself now. So, I mean, should there ever be a sequel series and she defeats life fiber constructs, she'll be absorbing them the way Senketsu used to.
Man, can you imagine how powerful she must have gotten from all those life fibers just during that battle?
Well, yeah, she was able to defeat this opponent by herself,
Yep.
And she was able to beat a clone of Satsuki while in Junkets. And that's something that she spent the whole fucking series doing before, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's definitely strong. I mean, but the rest of the episode pretty much went the way we thought it did.
Pretty much. I think a lot of what was going on with their mother's old assistant.
The assistant. That was Huomaru.
Yeah. I don't think we really had any basis for what was going on there other than that whole scene where she was saved. We kind of figured it out.
Mm-hmm.
But all her actions didn't make too much sense until we got to see it subtitled, because she wasn't a character that we had any real basis for other than as a yes man or a yes woman.
She was kind of a faceless minion almost.
Yeah.
She was like, sometimes the villain has a faceless mook who totally acts like a mook and says nothing, and they could be any other henchman except they're not.
Yeah.
Even though they're not that important.
And that's exactly what she was. So everything that was going on with her, what she was saying, we got the actions spoke, but we didn't have the details. Ultimately.
Yep. But yeah, great show. I really want a sequel to it, but I want to be the one who writes it. I'm still preparing like a formal request that I think I'm going to send to Japan. It will never be honored. But you never know in this crazy world.
They definitely set us up for, they had some sequel bait there.
Mm-hmm.
However, they've never done a sequel.
Trigger?
Trigger has never done a sequel to any of their shows.
Pixar never did a sequel until Toy Story 2. Square never did a Final Fantasy sequel until Final Fantasy X-2. Just because a company hasn't done a sequel doesn't mean they can't change their mind.
True, but they like working on original projects. They've actually spoken about this.
Oh, sure, and Pixar has done the same thing. That's what I'm saying. Like just because they like that does not mean that they can't find motivation to do a sequel to something, because a sequel doesn't have to be more of the same. Like, again, look at Toy Story 2. Toy Story 2, compared to the first, was not only a way better film, which is rare for a sequel to be just way better than its first film, but it was also way different.
Mm-hmm.
It was way more about, like, toys becoming obsolete and becoming forgotten, which are themes that the third movie ran with, right?
Mm-hmm. I know. It's just, I'm not expecting to see a sequel from Trigger anytime soon unless somebody drives up a couple 18-wheelers full of cash.
Mm-hmm.
Which, from the way that Aniplex is basically abusing the series, bringing it out here, could happen.
Yeah, you never know. You never know. I'm sure that might get a sequel is Senran Kagura, considering the games are still super popular. I just have to play them because I hear they're good games, actually, but I've never actually played any of them.
No.
They're not good games?
No, I've heard the games themselves are solid, if not pervy, which
Sure.
big surprise.
The reason that I want to talk a bit about Senran Kagura is that after we watched the last episode, I kind of gave it my rating, and so did you, and we kind of left it at that.
Well, we're doing, full anime rave episodes based on them.
Yep.
And, I mean, us talking about this is going to be out long before those episodes actually air.
That's right, too. So, the Kill la Kill ones have, so maybe we should put this off until we have aired them.
Yeah.
Okay, so, long story short, we're gonna skip that talk for now.
I think it'd be a good idea.
Alright. Other than that, I think we've covered a lot of our anime talk in response to the voicemails, so if you want to hear more and you skipped ahead to this section, maybe go skip back to the voicemails, and you'll hear more. We're on the Shitlord Saga, and we have 2 entries on this list. Me...
Well, I've got other
hating,
ones to add to this, but...
me for hating on Christmas, and I put Dave on there for being a sheep. So let's talk about why Dave's a sheep.
How about we just stop it right there?
I don't see why. I kind of want to mock you for your Christmas love.
I kind of want to punch you.
I suppose
Let's both hold back.
I suppose we did talk about it during
We
the
did.
title, so... Okay, for more Shitlord Saga, go to the beginning.
Well, I mean, really, right now, the companies that are being shitlords. Let's talk Nintendo.
Well, Nintendo is a shitlord because of their stupid limited run of GameCube adapters, ensuring that I can't find any anymore.
For a reasonable price.
Yeah, there are sellers who are trying to sell it for $100 more than it's worth now.
So, yeah, Nintendo, not cool.
Not cool at all. Not cool at all. Why not let more games support it? Patch Mario Kart to work with it, if you need an excuse. And stop being a shitlord, Nintendo. Okay?
I'm going to, again this week, call out Ubisoft. For trying to release more games buggy, and then thinking it's okay to just give free DLC or a free game in apology, but then making the list of games that you can get so small and old that your apology comes out flat.
You mean like what Sony did during the hacking debacle?
Except some of those games were cool. I got Infamous back then.
Yeah, one of those games might have been worth it. 2 if we count the Wipeout.
Now, I mean, Ubisoft's game library isn't human.
3 if we count
Humongous.
Virgin Sex Simulator 2012.
Moving on. But yeah, not cool.
Yeah.
That's all I really got for the Shitlord Saga right now.
Okay then, let's move on to a segment we skipped last time, and we're gonna do now. How 2 fat guys would do it. A new Final Fantasy movie, and a new suggestion you put here. Choose a video game that would make a great anime, and why. Okay, so I have ideas for both of these. Do you?
Yeah.
Do you want to go first?
Sure.
Okay.
Are we gonna do both of them?
Yeah, let's do both of them. Let's just do it real quick.
New Final Fantasy movie. I would actually be well. Number one, are we gonna do this as a brand new property, or are we talking?
I think that's up to you. That's up to you for your idea. My idea involves an existing property.
Same here, actually. I would actually be borrowing many elements of Final Fantasy IX, and then mixing 9 in with what we're seeing from Final Fantasy 15. Bring it back into a steampunk system. I always liked the idea of what was happening in 9. I liked how some of the characters played out with, Zidane, Black Mage, his name was
Vivi.
Garnet. Wow, I actually remembered that name.
What was her nickname, though, the one that she used in your party? Garnet was her real name.
Ooh, you know something? I don't know.
It was Dagger.
Ah, right. Mixing the 2 properties, bringing it back into a steampunk system. I'd still keep it very fantasy-ish, which, okay, great. The games were always fantasy. But I guess I guess in the end, as I'm thinking more about this, really, I'd use their characters and bring it back to be like a Final Fantasy 3/6, if you want to talk the Japanese numbering, sort of world. Yeah, that's the problem. It becomes more and more Final Fantasy 3 as I think about it. Because 3 would make an awesome movie.
6. It's not just Japanese numbering, it's everyone's numbering now.
True.
So, yeah, I like the mix of ideas. That definitely creates a solid world. It's just a matter of populating it with characters. For me, I would, and I don't say that venomously, I'm just saying. For me, I would just want a sequel movie for Final Fantasy VI done by DreamWorks. I'm not even kidding.
DreamWorks, not Pixar?
No, not Pixar. Pixar is too safe sometimes.
Or Disney?
Yeah, too safe sometimes. DreamWorks will take a chance.
I guess.
Keep in mind, DreamWorks gave us stuff like How to Train Your Dragon and at least 2 half-decent Shrek movies. And 1 half-decent Madagascar movie. And a couple of other gems, really. So, like, let's not knock DreamWorks for a loop yet. I think you give them direction on what you want to see, and then you leave them to their own devices and let them make a Final Fantasy VI sequel movie. I have my own ideas for Final Fantasy VI sequels, but I don't want to influence this too much by putting anything in there. I would just say this is the company I would want to make it, and I think I would like to see what they pump out.
Yeah, whereas if it couldn't be an actual movie of Final Fantasy VI, I would want to populate the characters of 9 into 6's world.
Well, I mean, I think 6 has enough material there that you could make a sequel movie or game out of it. And if you were and it were up to me what that sequel would be, it would either be some child of one of the soldiers Terra killed while she was under the effect of the slave crown is doing evil things, partly for revenge and partly because they want to cause anarchy and strife. And or B, some alternate universe some alternate version of their world has invaded theirs. This is kind of a Warlords of Draenor plot, except not an alternate past universe. And we get to see alternate versions of character what-ifs, like what if Terra became a soldier of the Empire? And what if she led that Empire to this? And what if they look at this broken world and go, see, you need us? It would be something like that.
Okay, so almost a Justice League plot. Gotcha.
Almost, a little bit. I won't lie, there's little Justice Lords going on in there.
Just a tiny bit.
And then your other suggestion was choose a video game that would make a great anime, and why? I'm going to start on this one.
Yep.
Guilty Gear by Trigger.
Ooh. Even chose the studio. Nice.
Yeah. If not Guilty Gear by Trigger... No, Guilty Gear by Trigger. Like, tell Trigger to base it on the same timeline as Xrd, and not to be too fan-wanky with Soul, and I can be happy.
Nice.
You see? I don't know what the plot of it could possibly be, though. Maybe Axel's time travel is finally causing real problems in the fabric of reality.
There's so many stories you can pull out of there.
Yeah, it could be a story of getting Dizzy back and awake. It could be Jam's depression after realizing Kai married someone else. Like, just don't base it entirely on Soul or Sin, and I'm fine.
Yeah, it would have to be I'd almost say you need to pull in, like, a group. It would have to be a threat so big or an army so big that you needed the group of them to work together.
The only other video game I think I would want to make an anime is the NES Chippendale Rescue Rangers by Trigger.
Now, for me, I was thinking Chrono Trigger.
By Trigger?
I wasn't thinking Studio. And while Trigger...
Okay, but you know what studio you want to pick, right? It's Trigger.
Not everything should be redone by Trigger.
I disagree. I think everything should be done by Trigger.
I'd still want the art style to be Akira Toriyama. Absolutely.
Sure.
And be true to the game. the original game.
Yeah?
Not the Game Boy, the DS one where they added in the justification for Chrono Cross.
Yeah, fuck that noise. Fuck Chrono Cross. Oh my god. We're both stupid. Bastion. By Trigger.
Here's the thing. I don't think Bastion lends itself well to a anime.
Really? Really?
Maybe-
Anime-looking main character with tons and tons of weapons and
Maybe
fighting in a
an-
destroyed after-apocalypse fucking future?
Maybe an OAV movie or two, but not a series.
Yeah, by Trigger. Exactly. I'm glad you agree with me. Besides, this just said turn it into an anime. That doesn't necessarily mean a series.
I guess. The other one is I would want to see an anime version of the alternate Persona universe. Not Persona 1, 2, 3, 4, but the
Shin Megami Tensei?
there you go.
You mean the regular universe? Persona's the offshoot of that.
Right. Yeah, so the Shin Megami.
Shin Megami Tensei.
There you go.
I don't even know the correct pronunciation.
I want to see an anime of that because they have a lot of good ideas that would work in a series.
I think I'd like to see an anime of Mick Foley going around and solving crimes, and the title of it would be simply Mankind. By Trigger.
Of course. Anything else to say?
Hang on, I'm thinking of more things to turn into animes. Other video games.
I'd like to point out for our listeners that I've managed to get Carlos thinking about games to turn into his hated anime.
Oh yeah, but here's the thing. This is why I'm saying by Trigger after all of these. That makes the chance that they won't suck at least 75%, so... I've always wanted, like, a Warcraft fighting game by Arxis, but I don't know if that counts.
No, it doesn't.
God damn it. Well then, a post-Warlords of Draenor anime by Trigger, and Garrosh is alive.
You lost me at Garrosh.
You know, you can't lose anybody, Garrosh. Okay, Two Fat Guys Talk episode 60 bonus content. Alright. So, the Avengers of anime characters, no Dragon Ball characters. Who's in?
No Dragon Ball.
Yeah. You know who I want in? I want Ryuko. Post the series has the Scissor Blade. I want Ryuko on this team. Let me explain. Ryuko's awesome.
That is
That's
all.
my explanation.
Okay, I can see Ryuko being there.
You're gonna laugh at my second choice. But he adds necessary transportation and sneaky and sneakiness and thievery. Kaito Joker.
No.
You don't want Kaito Joker on this team?
No.
What about Magic Kaito?
No.
I think we need a magician of some kind to fill in the magician slot.
I'm very sure we can find a formidable actual magician from some other anime.
I think Magic Kaito is the most formidable magician. He's apparently not using magic. What the fuck is up with that?
Still, no. I don't need characters that I can break over my knee.
Okay, fine. But still, do you agree with Ryuko being part of the team?
Ryuko, I can definitely see part of the team. Now,
Also, should we include Satsuki and her vast fortune being what funds it?
well, okay.
Maybe this is even her idea.
Hang on. Let's do this right. If we're doing an Avengers anime group, we've got to do a 1-to-1 who they would replace on an actual Avengers team.
Okay, then.
It
Hang on.
can't
We
just
need
be
to
willy-nilly.
decide what Avengers team we're using then. So, like, are we using movie Avengers? So Cap, Iron Man, Thor, Hulk, Hawkeye, Black Widow? Do we need to find a replacement for each of them?
To give us a large enough group, I would say yes. I was gonna say let's use the classical 1960s Avengers, but that's a rather small team.
So 6 people then. 6? Okay, Cap, Iron Man, Thor, Hulk, Hawkeye, Black Widow. Those are the Avengers in the movie.
Yeah, let's try and go with that group.
Okay, can we add a 7th person? the funding guy who can also fight if need be, the Nick Fury of it.
Sure.
Because that's Satsuki.
Fine.
Unless we take Ryuko out and put Satsuki on the team. Which has its benefits, I want to add.
Yeah, I said that would probably fit better for the team.
But I kind of want both of them.
I know, but you can't.
Why not?
No.
No, seriously, why not?
Because we need a diverse group.
Maybe it's their idea. They're like, let's find other anime heroes and make, like, the Avengers of anime. And they're like, what the fuck is anime?
Diverse. No more than one per series.
Then we can't have Satsuki being the funder.
Why not?
Because she's part of the same series.
I'm saying take Ryuko out, put Satsuki in.
Oh!
So now we've got our...
Agreed.
Iron Man.
Okay, so Satsuki Kiryuin,
Okay.
she's in.
Who
She fulfills the Iron Man kind of, she fulfills the Iron Man financing, but she's more of the powerhouse fighter when need be, right?
Okay, so is she taking the place of Nick Fury or Iron Man? Slot them in.
We don't really need a Nick Fury.
I say this because we don't want to end up with basically 7 characters that are basically Thor or Iron Man.
I don't see why not.
No,
We don't have to do 1-to-1 perfectly. She could replace Hulk for all I care. But I suppose, okay, fine. She can replace Iron Man then.
I was hoping you're gonna go with Nick Fury.
Oh yeah? Well, why is that?
Because person number 2, the Major from Ghost in the Shell, Iron Man.
Okay, what's her name? I'll give you a hint.
Kusanagi.
There you go. You got it. Good work. Makoto Kusanagi or something.
Yeah.
Okay, but the problem is she's an actual police officer. She can't just take time off to go be part of the Anime-vengers.
Yes, she can.
Why? Wait, why am I asking why? Sorry, how? That's what I meant.
Because she left Section 9 after the series.
Oh, yeah.
And then,
okay.
And then came back for the movie, so she's got years in between. I win.
So she's your Hulk replacement?
No, Iron Man.
Your Iron Man replacement?
Yep.
Okay. So this team so far is Satsuki Kiryuin and Major Kusanagi. Okay.
Yes.
We all got that's a formidable lineup, but they would probably lose to Thor. So we need a big hitter.
Actually, no, she would make a better analog for Hawkeye.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
Or Black Widow. Take your pick.
Because here's the thing, I would prefer for Satsuki to replace Iron Man, and for Major Kusanagi to replace Hawkeye. That way we keep our Nick Fury role open for a more mentor-like character.
Okay, but I think she fits the Black Widow role better.
Why is that?
Extremely skilled in hand-to-hand combat and firearms.
Hawkeye.
As well as being stealthy, as well as being a spy.
Yeah, but she didn't really spy on things. She wasn't very ninja-like. Kusanagi was definitely more of the in-your-face type of fighter. She wasn't really espionage person. And there are other espionage characters, like the Kaitos you already dismissed, that would probably fit the Black Widow replacement better. I think Kusanagi replaces Hawkeye.
Okay, fine.
You're okay with that?
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Okay. So, while we're on the topic of the Black Widow replacement, let's think of a suitable thief or ninja who could replace Black Widow. Are we keeping this limited to fairly current anime? Or can we delve back into history?
I'm willing to go back as far as needed, but it has to be anime.
Okay. So, no suggesting Black Widow to replace herself, basically.
Correct.
Understood. Okay. Well, when I think of espionage and guile and cunning and trickery, I think of ninjas. And when I think of ninjas, I think of boobs.
No.
And I think the perfect character from Senran Kagura to replace Black Widow would be...
Vito.
Oh, what's her fucking name?
I don't care who you choose.
She had the eye patch. What was her name? No, she's not really... She wouldn't be a good fit for the team.
None of them would.
No, I disagree. I think if you took, like, Katsuragi or someone, she could fit. Now, granted, we'd have to make the show R-rated if we had Katsuragi on the team. Because she basically fights with an open shirt.
Yeah, no.
You don't want a ninja?
I'm sure there's some other ninja or other suitably talented person we can use other than the blonde bimbo with the open shirt.
Jesus Christ.
Because nothing says ninja like, look at me.
Oh, well. Okay, then. Since you're being a giant asshole, would you suggest to replace Black Widow as our ninja character? Doesn't even necessarily have to be a woman, either.
Any version of one of the dirty pair.
Oh, sorry. I didn't realize that only your lewd fucking barely contained sexuality shows.
I say that as a joke because they are the opposite of stealthy.
Yeah, that's true too. I don't see why we can't have one of the Senran Kagura ninjas. Could it be one of the bad guys who they end up not being bad? What about Hamura? She's got a good look. She's stealthy and ninja-like. Sometimes.
No, I know who I want in place of Black Widow.
Who's that?
A certain badass who pilots a mech.
That doesn't narrow down anyone.
What's his face from Full Metal Panic?
Sosuke
Sagara.
That's a good choice, but for Black Widow?
Black Widow. He can be...
Yeah,
he can be stealthy.
And he can turn on...
major ass and is a weapons expert. Oh
my god, that is like the perfect choice. There's even built-in drama there, because every time he goes on a mission with the Anime-vengers, what's-her-face, Kanabe's always worried about him.
There you go.
And that's part of his story, right? Like, actually, let's talk about that for a bit. Satsuki, nobody's stopping her. She's doing the right thing for humanity, and maybe she's leaving her Elite Four and Ryuko to deal with any life fiber threats. Or maybe life fiber threats are part of what they face, and that brings in a good case for guest stars, right? Major Kusanagi, a similar thing with guest stars, but perhaps, perhaps she's on this team because she has to deal with, You Are the Worst. Sosuke. You got that one right, though. Good work. Saga. Sound it out doesn't always work with Japanese names.
No, it doesn't.
So, I mean, for the Major, it could be that she's on the team to kind of escape her own demons. For Sosuke, yeah, I like how you reversed the order on the list on that one. On both of them. And for Sosuke, yeah, we have the angle of, the dual life thing, and it's worrying the love of his life. I like that. Plus, another source of resources from, Tessa and her group.
Yeah.
Potentially. Okay, good choice, Dave. Sosuke is our Black Widow. Okay, we need our, Thor, Hulk, Captain America, and Nick Fury characters. Now, Cap needs to be replaced by a natural leader who's also good in a scrap. And the Nick Fury replacement needs to be... okay, so our Cap replacement needs to have charisma, be a natural-born leader, totally be able to command, to make people follow his or her lead, and needs to be good in a scrap.
Let me check the archives.
Okay. Because, there are good characters for this all over anime. I mean, even Sosuke could be that, but he's already fulfilling his role. Hell, Satsuki could be that, but haven't thought about it. She'd be one of the heavy hitter replacements, though. She would, if Lena Inverse was in, she would replace Thor or Hulk. But Lena Inverse she wouldn't want to play second to a team because she's very roguish herself, right? It's for the same reason you probably shot down the Kaitos that you could shoot down Lena Inverse too. Because she'll be part of a team that she leads filled with people she trusts, but I don't see her being willy-nilly part of some anime Justice League. Sorry, Anime-vengers. Anime-vengers, as I'm saying it. I don't think she works. Plus, not every character needs to be the protagonist of their respective show, right? You put
True.
Satsuki in, for Christ's sake.
True.
Okay, natural leader, goodness scrap. Let's come back to Cap then. Let's think of our two heavy hitters, our replacements for Thor and Hulk. They need to be big guys, whether it's physically or magically or through energy. Some person who is just super formidable and can work on the team, but perhaps is at odds with the other heavy hitter. Now, you could have Meliodas as one of the heavy hitters.
Let's try and keep away from the brand new fall 2014 ones.
Why is that? Is it because we have some recent characters in already?
It's not just that, it's just we've got so much to go from over the years that we don't have all the details on him, his character, everything else.
Okay, that's fair. That's a good point. Okay then.
Okay,
This
come on.
image has nothing to do with the show whatsoever.
We gotta put him in.
Akatsuki is not part of our team.
Akatsuki
No,
can fill in.
he is
for-
going to harass people who are going to murder him.
Okay, but the people we
The
have...
first time he touches some Satsuki boob, he's dead. Dead. So we need our heavy hitters to replace Thor and Hulk. I really wish you had seen G Gundam, because Domon is perfect for this.
Outside of his Gundam?
Yeah. G Gundam is the awesomest Gundam show. Now, keep in mind, every other Gundam show except G Gundam blows, or is pretty good, but not as good as G Gundam. G Gundam was meant to be a parody of Gundam, and it's way better than any of them. But you know who Domon is. You played him in Dynasty Warriors Gundam.
Yes.
Would you want to put him in on one of these slots?
I'll accept it. I don't know him.
Then no. It has to be someone we agree on, I think. Okay. So we need our two heavy hitters, a leader, and a mentor-like figure.
Okay, well, Sailor Moon's out of all those.
Sailor Moon could lead, but the problem is... Here's the thing. Just because Captain America isn't the most formidable Avenger doesn't mean he can't lead it.
True.
He's not. He's just the best suited to lead it.
Yeah, but in this group, Major or Satsuki or Sosuke could lead way better than frickin'
True. And one thing about these three is that they could each... Like, the issue here is that Sailor Moon is really built from the ground up to be on a team. It's like, we wouldn't put the Green Ranger here, even if he was an anime character, because he's kind of a cog in a unit. Each of these three characters, yeah, they've been on teams, but they function on their own and could conceivably function away from their team and on this one.
See, if I didn't say that only one per series, I'd say, Gamaguri.
Iragamaguri would be great, except A, we have Satsuki,
I know.
and B, he is part of a unit generally. The Elite Four are generally kind of a team. Like, they're a good assist call when they need some reservists, so...
I'm thinking Hulk, Gamaguri, yeah, that matches perfectly, but one for show.
Mm-hmm. I can think of, No, they wouldn't fit. Oh, this is hard now! Oh, man. Does Mario count as an anime character?
No.
Shit.
No, that one wouldn't work as a mentor either. I was thinking of the main character from Spiral. But no.
Also, he's gonna be... Yeah, okay, maybe if he has to fight, like street level, like intelligent villains, okay. But when he has to fight Thanos, he's not gonna be able to puzzle out of that situation. It's fucking Thanos.
Well, okay, in his defense, though, Nick Fury wouldn't win against Thanos either.
Oh, were you suggesting the Spiral kid, whatever the fuck his name was for the Nick Fury role?
Yes.
I don't know. I would rather have... If we were really gonna put someone in that role, I'd rather it be someone who is a detective of an almost inconceivably high level, not some kid who happens to be facing some other kids who think they're smart. So no Death Note characters.
Okay.
You know this to be true.
I do. Well, for Thor's role, heavy hitter, how about, one of the Elric brothers.
I suppose you could. You could make it the Superior 2003 series where they were on Earth, but the problem is they won't have alchemy then, I guess.
You could just take them from before the show ended, so cut out the movie.
Also, the Elric brothers are kind of a unit, right? Just one of them doesn't make a lot of sense.
No, they were formidable on their own in the vastly superior, more recent version.
Yeah, vastly. Brotherhood is garbage-ass garbage. You know this to be true.
No, I do not agree with you.
Take any episode and find an episode past like 10 where 90% of the dialogue wasn't garbage. You can't find one because there are none. There is one good thing Brotherhood did. Olivia Armstrong. The rest of that show's trash.
No, do not agree.
Trash.
No.
2003 one, better themes,
No.
better characters, better storytelling.
Do not agree.
2009, let's talk for 90% of the episode about fucking nothing. Every episode.
Nope.
Let's resolve no arcs. Let's resolve no conflicts. Let's have every fight end in a stalemate, a draw, or inconclusively, so that there's no payoff to any arc in the show. That's Brotherhood. It's terrible.
No, do not agree.
That's fine, but it's terrible. I'm giving you solid reasons why Brotherhood sucks.
In your opinion, which is flawed.
In my well-reasoned opinion,
No.
based on reality, gathered from the facts.
No. Okay,
So-
how about this? A character that we can both agree on from Fullmetal Alchemist, doesn't matter which version, Armstrong.
The Major?
Major Armstrong for Hulk. Come on, he fits perfectly.
What was his name?
Louise.
Louise? Okay, yeah, Louise Armstrong. Agreed. He can replace Hulk. He has strength to spare and alchemy for all those characters that he, I'm pretty sure that's the female spelling of Louise, but it doesn't really matter for the purposes of this.
Correct.
Luís in Portuguese. We could have even put Olivia there, because she was the only good thing about Brotherhood, and I'd be okay with that universe being completely annihilated, and she surviving and joining this team.
Get off it.
It's terrible.
No, it isn't.
It's the worst.
No.
It's the worst. Okay, we need another heavy hitter, a leader, and a mentor. Now, I'm gonna need you to look up her name, but who is the captain from Mars Daybreak? Mars Daybreak, for people who don't know, was an anime by Bones made a few years ago. 10 or so years ago. Mars Daybreak was like a mecha show in the oceans of a terraformed Mars. Unlike other Bones shows, it wasn't really terribly depressing. It was a pretty good show, though. The leader of the squad that our main characters were involved in, she was a very cool woman. She was very buff and big and a capable leader and fighter, and she would be a great leader for this team. But I do not remember her name to save my life.
Yes, Elizabeth.
What's her last name there?
Elizabeth Liati.
Yeah, she was the captain
of the Aurora.
Yes, Elizabeth Liati, and you might want to look this up, people, on the internet. She would be a perfect Nick Fury figure for this team. Especially since at the end of Mars Daybreak, she'd be looking for work.
No.
She wants to do another project that doesn't involve the oceans of Mars. How about leading this ragtag gang of misfits to their greatest victories against the evils of the universe?
Yes. Let's go from commanding a gang of misfits in piracy to looking after a gang of misfits taking on evil.
Yeah! I'm glad you agree.
Okay, we're still stuck with Cap and Thor.
You know who could be a good Thor? And even though he's part of a team, there are 18 bazillion ways you can reason why he wouldn't be part of that team anymore. The only problem is we already have a character who kind of is like him. I was going to suggest Hito Yui. With Wing Gundam.
I was actually going to suggest him originally in the Hawkeye position until I thought of the Major.
Yeah.
And he doesnn't fit Cap. He's
not Cap. He's not the leader.
No.
He would be the Thor analog because he'd have the firepower.
problem is Sosuke could easily fill that much better than Hiro.
And that's the thing. Sosuke is already pretty much that character, but more likable. Sosuke is just a more likable Hiro Yui, let's be real.
You put the two of them in a room, I'm pretty sure Sosuke breaks his neck in 5 moves.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure Sosuke ends up with a lot of his bones broken too. Hiro is not to be laughed at.
I don't know. I think they grapple, and Sosuke's got him dead in 5 moves.
Sure. I'm just saying, it's going to cost him.
A pinky.
A pinky, maybe.
Yeah, Thor.
There's a Star Ocean anime, and we're not going to take anyone from that. That's the last thing we're going to say there. Jesus Christ, what was I thinking? Fucking Star Ocean.
Calm down.
No, I'm calm.
Indonesia. That can be the first boss.
I was about to mention Dragon Ball characters, and I forgot we're not putting in Dragon Ball characters.
No Dragon Ball.
This is difficult. There was a Power Stone anime, and Falcon could be a pretty good leader.
No.
Why? You can't just say no and be like, okay, Dave, I defer to your judgment.
Good. I would agree.
Why not him?
I don't know the character at all.
Okay. Oh, I know who our Thor figure can be. He's perfect. And the thing is, you pay him enough, he'll show up all the time. And he will make a great addition. And fill in the cool factor, fill in the heavy hitter factor, and I'm talking about Dante. And he's an anime character. There was a Devil May Cry anime.
Anime Dante was probably the most formidable Dante before they fucked him up.
Which is pretty amazing, because Anime Dante, they never showed any of his fights. Every time he was in a fight, it was minor or off-screen in that anime. It was a pretty good show despite that, and he's still the same Dante in the game, so we can count his abilities. What do you think? Dante is our Thor?
Yeah, because he sure as hell isn't Cap.
And one of the villains is Dante?
Okay, hand in your joke card. That was a pun.
No, I know, but I mean, Dante was just... Here's the thing, that's what people call the Dante from the American Devil May Cry. Oh, you didn't know that. That's his nickname from people. It's called him Dante. From the that company. The guys who made Heavenly Sword. Yeah, the Dante from that game, the American Devil May Cry.
Oh, the new one, the latest one.
Yeah, the one that's
young Dante.
Yeah, that people call him Dante.
Okay.
So it could be one of the villains. It'd be like, fuck you! Fuck you!
Yeah, it's kind of like how the American Godzilla was turned into Zilla and then had his ass kicked in one of the Godzilla movies. Oh, we should have put Godzilla in this! No.
Could he be the Hulk?
No. We'll make him the leader.
The leader. Our leader's so wise.
I cannot think of a Cap. Because most anime characters are not leaders.
Yeah, a protagonist does not have to be a leader. That's the thing.
Yeah.
The protagonist can be a member of the crew. Like.
How about the
But in this case, we do have Elizabeth, but she's kind of the overarching monitor the operation and give commands leader.
Yeah.
But they need a field guy. That's what Cap is.
How about main character Black Cat?
Oh shit, who was he again? I don't think he could be a leader either. He was more following the orders of, he was more part of the group with the old guy and with Eve. And, I don't really like him in the position. He's too roguish.
I guess.
I think the leader has to be someone more leader-like. And since you don't want to have latest characters, that leaves out Tail Red, who would be perfect.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. Fuck, Tail Red would have been so perfect. Yeah, Tail Red.
Rock from Black Lagoon.
Tail Red.
We're not taking Tail
Red. No, we're not putting in a Black Lagoon character. We're not putting in sociopathic pirates on our superhero, on our Anime-vengers. What the fuck are you thinking? Why we just put in, I don't know, the twin gun girl from that same show, Revy. She could be there, right? She's not going to kill any of her teammates.
Nah, she's a mercenary that works with the team sometimes.
That's okay. I'm okay with that.
She's this Avengers Punisher.
Sure, that's okay. But she is not on the team, let alone their cap. Jeez Louise, Dave.
No, Rosetta from Chrono Crusade wouldn't work either. Neither would Chrono.
Also, they're dead.
I'm not counting that against them.
True.
City Hunter wouldn't work.
City Hunter could be another, mercenary.
Nobody from Cowboy Bebop fits that role.
Nope. Also dead.
Again, that one's inconclusive.
Yeah, you're right. I'm glad you agree with me.
The only thing I'm very sure of is that Spike killed Vicious. But I still say to this day that his star falling was the fact that he had to give up his carefree life and take over the organization.
Sure,
which
whatever.
still would have been a death of his character.
Sure. I think he just survived.
But he wouldn't have come back.
Maybe, I don't know. We can't include anyone from Samurai Champloo because you hate that show. And also none of them would fit.
None of them fit.
We can't include Kenshin because he can't lead a team. Can he?
No.
Can Kenshin be our cap?
You know, as much as I want to say yes, Kenshin wasn't a leader. And he wasn't. Yes, sometimes he was in charge of a group, but what was his plan all the time? He rushes forward, the rest follow up behind and clear up the scraps. That was a Kenshin battle tactic.
Can any of the Paper Masters be our cap?
No. Because they weren't leaders either. Yomiko worked great on her own, but she wasn't the leader.
I fucking hate you so much.
How
do you know that name after so long?
It's just there in the useless information category.
What was the name of Ryuko's friend that I always shipped with her?
Mako.
Oh, good. Jesus Christ, I thought you forgot.
Yeah, no, okay, nobody from the Paper Masters. No one from anyone that had, no Madlax, no...
No, please no, yeah. We don't need half of the show being na.
Yeah. Nothing from Ease Otherwise, Elfin Line.
Oh, please nothing from Elfin Lead. Hey people, are you out there listening and you think Elfin Lead is the greatest thing since sliced bread? You're wrong, it's garbage.
Calm down. Nobody from Fruit Basket.
Could you imagine Kyo leading the team? Was like, alright, I don't know why you picked me to do this. I would suggest Street Fighter characters, but I don't see any of them being the leader of this team, man.
No.
At best, you could get Ryuen as a reservist.
Bon. Get backers.
Yeah, but he's busy macking Genji on the side. Also, he and Genji are a package deal, whether or not they're sucking each other's cock so hard every day. Yeah, no, it's a beautiful thing, Dave. Okay? This is so difficult. Folks, how about you tell us who should be the leader of our team? No, I say we leave it to the people. We leave it to our tens of followers to decide the perfect anime leader for our team. Can't be anyone from Dragon Ball, and it can't be anything from, let's say, anime that's come out this year. Kill la Kill is this year. Anything from fall 2014 onward.
See, I can think of a few characters from a bunch of animes, but it automatically becomes void because you haven't watched them. Or you had no interest in them.
Maybe I know something about the show.
Do you know anything about Fairy Tail?
Yeah, it's like some ghetto Seven Deadly Sins or something. Don't murder me, please, Dave. You let me listen to some of its music. Its music's pretty good. I hear it's shonen everything and not terribly exciting. I mean...
That depends on the person, but...
That's all I really know. I'm not against suggesting someone from a show I dislike. The thing is, though, is that Ichigo is, busy these days.
I wouldn't suggest anything from Bleach either, because none of them are leaders as well.
No, agreed.
See, from Fairy Tail, I would grab a character called Urza. She's a badass. She actually has leadership capabilities.
I believe you, but I don't know who she is at all.
Exactly. No one from Lost Universe. No one from Love Hina. Magic Knight.
Hey, Keitaro could lead this ragtag bunch and have zany Three's Company misunderstandings with them when they're not fighting anyone.
Nobody from Magic Knight Ray Earth.
Really? You don't think that Hikaru couldn't lead this team?
Here's the thing. I've gone back and watched parts of that. And then stopped because I didn't want to ruin the good memories I had.
Yeah, that's because you just don't understand how to appreciate the classics, Dave. But there is one problem with introducing Hikaru, and that means that Nova's one of the villains, and Nova's the most stupidly broken villain Sue villains ever.
What's wrong with putting Loki from Loki Ragnarok in that role?
He's not really a leader. He's
Really?
more of a singular entity. I would have suggested him for a heavy hitter. Plus, he's a Loki. We don't need a Loki or a Thor, because we could have just suggested Thor from that show to be our Thor replacement.
I guess.
What about... Don't scoff, okay? From this... but I don't know if it counts, because the show that continues his story is upcoming. But this character does exist in shows prior. But you'd have to take a form of him who's at least in high school or something. And that is Taichi Kamiya from Digimon. Now, granted, he's not really the scrapper by himself, although he has, as a kid, taken out a few champions, those stupid ghosts. But,
I'd put TK in that role before I put Tai.
Tai is the better leader. I like TK, but Tai or Davis would be my choice.
Not Davis.
No, I know you still hate Davis. I grew to love him.
Actually, I don't hate Davis.
He's the best character in that show.
But here's the thing. Davis was never a leader.
He was always a leader. He wanted to be a leader, he sucked at it, he got really good at it, and everybody respected him as leader. The only reason Tai wasn't still the leader is because his Digimon got depowered and he was busy with high school, striking out on Sora. But Taichi...
I guess we're going to find out whether he actually struck out or not coming up, aren't we?
Yeah, sure, but whatever. Tai, he can scrap because Agumon's available for him, and he could lead the team. How about we put him on a maybe list and keep looking? Folks, if you want to send in your suggestions for our leader... Unless you have anything else, Dave.
I actually have somebody who actually could trounce time. Rick Hunter.
Fuck Rick Hunter. Rick Hunter spent half his days chasing a minor, struck out with this easily infatuated minor, and then settled for some older lady. Fuck Rick Hunter. Also, I heard he's not that great a pilot. Also, and I don't want you to get furious over this, fuck Robotech.
I need context in that last one. And yet, yes, it will depend on whether you leave this room alive.
I don't hate Robotech. I'm just saying that Rick Hunter's
you don't like the idea?
It's not really
yes,
it's for the same reason that I would suggest Luke Skywalker if he was an anime character. Also, I want to disqualify Rick Hunter because even though Macross is anime, Robotech is more of an American invention that used Macross footage. It's like Power Rangers. Power Rangers is an American invention that used Sentai footage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I realize.
Yeah. So we have to disqualify that based on that. This is difficult.
Hang on, I'm only the R's.
Rune Soldier Louis? David, I want you to think about how brilliant that is. He is goofy, but great in a scrap. He possesses hidden power and hidden reserves of power. He became a leader. Oh my god, Rune Soldier Louis is our Captain America, isn't he? Oh my god, Rune Soldier Louis is our Captain America, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
I think he is. Oh my god, he's perfect. What was that line from Dumb and Dumber? Just when I think you can't get any dumber, you do something like this. And totally redeem yourself! Rune Soldier Louis.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Okay, folks, do you agree with our Anime-vengers team? Led by their field leader, the Captain America replacement is Rune Soldier Louis. Their overseer, Nick Fury model is Elizabeth Liati from Mars Daybreak. The two heavy hitters to replace Thor and Hulk are Dante from Devil May Cry and Louise Armstrong from Full Metal Alchemist, the Superior 2003 version. Sosuke Saga replaces our Black Widow. Sosuke's from Full Metal Panic, and he has all the skills necessary, not to mention a mech on standby if he doesn't. Satsuki Kiryuin as our Iron Man replacement, and Major Kusanagi from Ghost in the Shell as our Hawkeye replacement. What do you think of this team? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Send us your comments. And since this was bonus content, back to your regularly scheduled episode 60. Folks, parting thoughts. Dave, enlighten the people with your parting thoughts.
Carlos loves anime.
I hate you so much. Here's my parting thoughts.
Hashtag suck it up, Cupcake.
No, pray for Carlos. Here's my parting thoughts. Christmas blows.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Everything about it blows. It's stupid. And I celebrate those who shun it. Join me, Dave.
No.
Together we can be more powerful than you could ever imagine.
No, that'd be killing you. That might be more
And then
powerful.
drinking my blood?
No.
That's pretty badass, actually. Folks, thank you so much for listening. You can find us at twofatguystalk.com or carlsanddaveanimerave.com. Either of those sites will let you send us a voicemail. Just click on the send voicemail link on the side. If you don't want to send us voicemail but want to send us feedback, just leave a comment on a show. Or you could talk to us on Twitter. Our main show account is at twofatguystalk. I am Handsome Fat Man.
I'm at the Dude Hack.
And you can find us on iTunes. Just search for Two Fat Guys Talk. All right. Good podcast, I think. We talked a lot about anime, about why Christmas is the biggest sham since...
oh, quiet.
Since sliced bread? It's a sham? Is it a sham?
You massive dick.
Well, if that's what you want, I'll take my pants down right now. We'll make a freaking yaoi ecchi anime out of this shit. So much heavy petting.
That's been it, folks. Have a good one.
So